Okay, for those of you listening to the audio podcast, we also release the show with video visuals on YouTube. So if you like some pretty pictures to go along with our pretty voices, search for Digital Suffering Podcast on YouTube to find us. Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of the Digital Suffering Podcast. I'm your host, Steven Something. My co-host,
PhamtomLimb.
Yay, he remembered his name. First up, we're going to be looking at a game called Waking. It's coming soon. Basic summary is that you're in a coma, as per usual, and you have to wake yourself up by battling through these dreamscapes with bosses representing your psychological fears. And in the game you can use
Memories?
Memories of your loved ones or treasured stuffed animals, etc., etc., in order to help you in these, in these battles. It's got a very lovely. It uses the bloom effect a hell of a lot to give everything like a very dreamy, oversaturated feel to things. Very, very nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
In terms of the graphics, I do like the bosses. They're very. It's an eclectic range. Although some of them, like the abstract shapes, are kind of are people really afraid of like a sort of mathematical starfish? Maybe you had like
shooting lasers at you and spiky things. Hell yeah!
It's like, I've got a maths test, so geometry terrifies me perhaps. But then some of the other bosses are sort of like humanoid things that wouldn't look out of place of Dead by Daylight. So it's kind of like a mixed thing, but still, definitely like. Do you know when it's coming out? Do you remember?
I don't think there is a release date.
It's just sometime in the future.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Oh, okay.
It does. Obviously, it's third person, but it does remind me a lot of Risk of Rain 2. I wouldn't say it was similar in its vein, but it's kind of like this shooting. There's a lot of dodging. And there seems to be a lot of enemies on screen sometimes as well. But then there's also the element of hand-to-hand combat, and it seems like a sort of telekinesis. There's a point in the video where he uses a block that he's sort of holding mid-air,
and he propels it towards the enemy
to block a shot from the boss, then he throws it in its face. And then there's these glowing items that he seems to be picking up and using to attack the bosses with, for sort of like a heavy attack, as opposed to running in and whacking them or shooting them with something else.
Maybe the objects, those things, they represent something in the that dream world. That's what allows you to use them as weapons. It's all the thing is, because a lot of it is so abstract, given the nature of the dreaming state. It's very hard at this early point to say, this thing represents something without it being explained.
I mean, we can get an idea of the gameplay. There's a little mini map in the bottom right corner of some of the footage that we've seen. So you'll be traversing a landscape. It's got enemies in it. It looks sort of very fantastical and, really rich. Which, what more can you ask for from a made-up place?
I remember reading something about it, and it said that something like it said, "Oh, you use your loved ones," and it implied. It said, "Oh, the game's going to be very personal," and it implied that somehow you could get people that in there. It's like that Lionhead game. What was it? It was one of those God games. It was one of the first ones. It was called. What it does, when you installed it, it would read your Outlook's contacts.
Wow.
And use the names.
Invasive much?
I'm sure
that's malware.
I'm sure in the EULA, when you scroll past it, just click I agree. It said that you're by agreeing you give us the power to do this. Anyway, it pulled people from your contacts list from Outlook.
Do you think I don't use that, eh?
And populated. Well, this is late 90s. So anyway, and you use that to populate characters in the game, gave them names, so you would be like talking to Uncle Fred or whatever.
See one of the special.
I don't think it's going to be quite like that, but there was the implication that you could.
I think they've got the Tron machine, and they suck you into the game world, and then they implement your code.
You literally the game it is like
it's a bespoke setup, and it costs £1,000 to get your own character implanted in the game.
Maybe it's like Sword Art Online. You get like a headset, and it like traps you in the game until you complete it.
Yeah, but there's a fundamental problem with that. Somebody has to be feeding your body, and I don't remember in any of the episodes that I watched of that Sword Art Online where anyone was feeding his body.
I'm thinking of a different. Wait, no, Sword Art Online. They got no. What he did was the programmer who created the world. He did a news broadcast and said that these people were trapped. Obviously, it was late because some people got forcibly unplugged, which killed them. But so that way, all the survivors.
No. Every time it showed his body, he was always lying in the same place as when he did in the first episode. He was never on a drip, on an IV in a hospital. As far as I got to in that series.
No, but they did because they maybe it was not immediately after then, but at one point it was because they were collected by the government and kept in because they had to keep them
collected by the government. Because bad words.
Unplugging them to kill them. Anyway, this game is probably not that hostile to the player.
Well, you're already in a coma.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, it looks cool. On the horizon, one to keep an eye on. Waking, yeah. Okay. Right. Next up, I believe is Monkey King.
Yeah, Monkey King. Hero is back. We both saw this recently. It's published by all of the companies. It's based on a animated movie that's come out in China, and the biggest selling point is that the combat.
Is it based on an animated movie?
Yeah. It's a CGI.
Okay.
It's one of those CGI movies. Anyway, and
from the people who bought you Kung Fu Panda. Not really.
No, from the people who were inspired by Kung Fu Panda. Anyway, they brought you Kung Fu Monkey. The martial arts sequences, the Kung Fu, is taken very much from the Hong Kong Kung Fu movies of old, whereby in the fight sequences they would inject a lot of humour with like
Kung-foolery.
Kung-foolery, yes. For example, one developer mentioned that there's one sequence where there's a character and he's got a very hard head, so when you punch him, you hurt your hand, and so the character holds his hand in pain, and the characters are all very expressive, which gives it a very, it brings the characters to life, as opposed to like your average generic third-person action where action game where you run around collecting the 128 golden such and suches.
God.
Whereas
can we just stop the collecting thing, please?
What do you reckon are the odds that this will have you collecting something in order? Actually, you have to collect.
I'm pretty sure we did see it when we were watching that developer video.
Yeah, to collect like golden something.
From I don't know if it was Gamescom or somewhere else, TGS. I don't know what it was.
I think it was Gamescom.
And I'm pretty sure he was collecting something.
You have to collect something because
no, you don't.
Otherwise, you just stand in the same spots. You wouldn't go anywhere.
Hold on a second. That's
because the story has no purpose to it. It's the collecting.
What does Mario do with all those coins? He weighs himself down like a fat plumber.
He goes gambling.
Yeah, he's got a serious problem, that kid.
Okay, well, collecting the stuff aside, you control the eponymous Monkey King, and that it's sort of set after something's befallen him, and he's fallen from grace and no longer has his powers, and so he has to go on an epic quest to collect the fragments of power that are scattered across the landscape. Probably.
Yawn. I mean, it looks really nice, and what we saw of it looked fun.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it is a new generation of Jack and Banjo Daxter. What was the other one? Jack and Banjo Clank. That's what it is.
It'll be its own genre.
Its own genre. What would that be?
Which is, that's what we'll call it. The
Jack and Banjo.
The
Clank.
Back Janjo. Anyway.
The Jabango Clank.
The Bajango Clank. So the fighting looks great. The only thing is that they mentioned that it seems that it's like single button combat. So it's like context, you like press the button and your character does all the moves. And
As
then
I would expect from a game like this.
And then when you get to like certain
if you're
things,
looking for substance, kids,
it will QTE, for the finishes and stuff. Which is kind of like a shame because they got this really detailed combat, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can pick stuff up in the world. You eventually get your bow staff back. I say back because obviously the character's known for having it.
You have to collect. It's been broken into little pieces, probably. And you have to
Stop saying probably. This is all conjecture and hearsay.
This is the Conjecture and Hearsay podcast, isn't it?
No, that's down the road. You're in the wrong place, chap. It could be fun, but ultimately,
game is coming out in October, so
early access on Steam.
Early access on Steam. If
right
you want
now.
to help them work out all the bugs before they release it.
Yeah, if you want to be an unpaid bug tester that pays the company, there's your in.
THQ or Oasis or Sony or something, send us a review copy. Right. Next up, we have.
You can't remember the name of the game.
Oninaki. It's a game. It was released about a week ago, I think. I managed to have a play with the demo. They had a demo, which is a rare thing in this day and age.
They just expect you to buy everything and then work out that it's crap.
Yeah, anyway. So the principal plot is you control a guy who is a watcher. The watchers in this land, what they do is they help guide the spirits of the dead onto the next world. Onto the path of reincarnation, and also they help console the living relatives so that they don't grieve for them, because a big part of their belief system is that if the surviving relatives grieve for the dead, their grief traps them in the physical world. Does
that mean that's a form of immortality?
It's kind of, yes, but that means they're kind of ghosty, and it's not.
It's all good. All you want to do is chat, right?
Well, you can't interact with anyone,
and it's great for them because they don't need to go to work anymore.
It's cool. There's one part early on whereby this boy, you find goes to this boy, you escort him back. He's obviously been held back. He hasn't reincarnated, and you guide him back to the parents, and the parents say, "Oh, we know he's dead." And so instead of saying, "Okay, we're just going to stop grieving, we will accept that he's passed on," the parents essentially they ask the watcher to kill them so that they can join him in the next world, which is like a really messed up belief system. It's
all you need then is somebody to believe in all of them and not let any of them move on.
Yeah, but it's like okay, reincarnation. Yeah, you move on, but it's also like weirdly fatalistic in that it's like, okay, they're dead. I know they're gonna be reincarnated. There's no point in me living on. I might as well die and get reincarnated as well. It's like
it's a great little reset button, isn't it? I'm bored of this existence. I don't like my job.
But as a result, everyone is really everyone you encounter is like really casual about life and death, because when you die you get reincarnated. So
seems morbid as F.
Yeah, it's the thing is it's an interesting setup.
But you said also that you traverse between the living and the
yeah,
dead.
it's got a mechanic just like
Zelda,
like Legacy of Kain, or like Zelda and stuff, whereby you've got the world of the living and you've got the spirit world, which you can cross into, because there are certain enemies that only exist there, and you can only see the ghosts there initially, and then when they join you, you can pull them, so they are visible in the physical worlds, and they have like sort of puzzle areas whereby some kind of evil is in the background, and it can manifest these like weird mini boss monsters that can like obstruct the spiritual energy in an entire area, so you literally can't see anything. You jump into the spirit world, and there's like this inky black area, and you walk into it, you can see your character and like nothing else, and perhaps like the ghost fires from enemies, but you can't see what's attached to them, so you have to like kite them out of this like obscured zone in order to do any fighting, because essentially you're fighting blind otherwise, and you have to like jump into this like hidden area, locate this thing that's causing the spiritual blackout, then jump back to the physical world, and you kind of pull it with you, and then you can actually attack it, which is like a thing. So it allows you to jump back and forth, and it makes it interesting. But I mean, otherwise you sort of say, well, it doesn't really matter. You go, okay, you need to find the boy. The boy's a ghost. You jump into the spirit world. You walk till you find him. You say, okay, right, take him to his parents. You jump to the physical world. You go to the parents, and there are like these, the enemy. There are enemy spirits in both sides. So whichever side you're in, you're fighting something, and it's like it's kind of so simplified. It's like it doesn't say, oh, you have to work out, I need to do this mechanic in order to solve this puzzle. It's like, okay, you need to be in the spirit world for this section, you need to be in that world for that section in order to progress. It's a shame. Also, another thing, the combat is laborious. The enemies you fight, they're sort of like little spirit crows and these weird spiders and stuff. The designs are wonderful, but the most weakest enemy, the crow, takes 3 full hits to die, and this is like swipe, swipe. That's how long it takes. I mean, you can obviously, if you kite them into a group, you can hit multiple to speed things up, or if you use a special attack. But like, you use a special attack, it does 50% damage. You still have to hit it twice, because your normal hits do 33% damage. So it's like, it just takes so long to kill everything.
Yeah, but you're talking about the power creep in every game.
But I got up to... I completed the demo, and while your character seems to get a little bit more powerful, power is acquired by acquiring new summons, new spirits, to assist you, which means that the enemies that you fight, they take the same number of hits all the time. And like later on in this underground section...
So it just basically scales?
That's what it feels like. There's like these tank-like things that shoot like rockets at you. Well, sort of a blob of energy or whatever. But they take like 6-7 hits.
Sure,
easily.
But I mean, I'm guessing that once there's going to be even if it scales, there's going to be a curve where it doesn't scale beyond, and or your character just has scaled higher to the point where it cannot keep up with the scaling.
I really hope so, but the fact
obviously I don't know, what level were you when you...
There was there's no real leveling.
So it's just a progression system based on
progress. As you progress, you acquire. Sorry, you're at this point in the story.
That kind of narrows. I'm not saying that's bad, but it kind of narrows the field of how you get on, because that means do the summons level up?
They
acquire new powers.
The demo was only about an hour long. You only get up to like the second boss thing. It's very short, but it didn't. They didn't feel like there was any kind of progression other than acquiring a new summon with a different attack mechanic. Each summon gives you a different weapon. The one you start with gives you a sword, and you get like a dash. The next one you get gives you a spear and like a jumping dash, and it gives you different special. But I mean, otherwise, you felt the same powerful. It just you didn't feel any different. It just so as a result, like
I suppose that's going to be interesting unless the later summons are just stronger than that.
I really hope so. But you're in a room like of mobs, and you look at the more mobs there are, the more depressed it becomes because it's just going to take you longer to clear them. All it does is they just consume time because the combat's just not satisfying, and it's like. I was saying, I'm working through it because the story was semi-interesting, but the combat was really holding me back. And I sort of checked a review of it, that someone had gone through the game prior, and they echoed my sentiments that the story, while it was like, the story was interesting enough, the combat itself was just like not compelling to say this is why you go through. It's a shame. It had promise, and I mean the art style is very nice, but the combat, which is fundamentally the majority of it, is just not worthwhile.
It's a shame. I wanted to like this game.
No, I wanted to like it as well. And in fact, they had a demo. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I played through the demo, and by the end of it, I was like, oh, thank goodness that's over, because. Literally, but by the end of it,
you had a great time.
By the end of it, you go into the second area. It was all those little tank, energy shooting, creatures. Just like 3 or 4 of them per room. So you were spending like 2 minutes, well, almost to like dodging / dodge, charge attack / thing. Okay, room's clear. On to the next one. Repeat. Or you cleared them, and then more teleport in. Second wave. And you're like, why? It really, just man. Because the thing was, the second part, it was like, there was this cult leader had convinced all his followers to commit suicide because, you commit suicide, there's no repercussions. You commit suicide, you're going to get reincarnated to a better life. Wonderful. Everyone in the cult commits suicide. The cult leader chickens out. And you find him and he goes to prison because... he's convinced people to commit suicide, even though.
Is that technically?
Well, the thing is, it's like the problem is that because their belief system, life and death don't matter so much because as long as people progress on to the next reincarnation, who cares?
That kind of flies in the face of getting jail term as well because unless your life is so great that you don't want to move on.
Yeah. Anyway, so he gets thrown in prison, so I assume it's going to be a shitty prison. They're going to make him... He'll probably try and commit suicide at that point.
Yeah, I mean... That'd be the best answer, right?
But anyway, so the thing... And then obviously in one of the cutscenes, you see this mysterious little ghostly girl. This villain turns up who wants the power that she has. And he gets stopped by something plot reasons. He leaves. And then the demo ends, so I don't get to find out what happened on it. It's sort of interesting, but the problem is that I hate the combat enough to say I wouldn't want to suffer through it. It's a shame. But yeah, 5 thumbs up.
Out of 100, by the sound of it.
Out of 6.
I don't know. Going back to this mechanic, and it was in Astelia that we talked about last week, of having a summon that allows. It's like a gateway to power, basically.
Yeah.
And why can't it just be that you... there's a lot of games that lean on this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of boring.
Well, no, but the thing is... Well, here, essentially, the summon is your weapon. It's just a...
Yes,
if you think of it like a visual artifact of your weapon. If you were to strip this back to just the most basic thing, it is just a different type of weapon, more than anything. In Astelia, the characters are different because you can use them for DPS, for tanking. Essentially, in an MMO,
they're doing the
they fill party roles. So it's just a way of increasing your DPS. So they are weapons in a sense, but you get to manage them more because you have a decreasing energy mechanic. We say if I want to add in additional ones to increase my DPS briefly, and suffer the penalty of using more energy. Whereas here in Oninaki, it's like, shall I use the sword or shall I use the spear? Which one is strong against which enemy? I don't.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like it was just an attacking style.
It's like what the Diablo games, 2 and 3, Monster Hunter, and there's other games that do it as well, where you have a companion. Be it the small cat in Monster Hunter or whoever you choose to go with you in Diablo. They don't while they can fight for you, and there is people that have made builds in D2 where they do the fighting for you.
Where you sort of sit back and you literally let them.
You literally make an OP helper and they kill the boss. They do the damage.
Do you get the experience, or do they just get more powerful?
No, you get the experience.
Yeah.
But that's for me. That's acceptable because it's not gonna factor into how you play.
Yeah.
Not it shouldn't anyway. It will be an augmentation to a complementary augmentation to what style. You do, right? Whereas this sounds like not so much in Oninaki, but kind of as well a defining factor.
Yeah. So
if you don't find, are these? Is it linear?
It's linear,
right? So you're gonna find everything.
You are absolutely going to find. Unless they have ones, in secret areas of the thing, there. I assume there's going to be a minimum set to get you through, because essentially it says, "Oh, you've got to find this boy." You go through. You may search. They may have branching paths,
sure.
but
later on, you're not sure.
The end part where you find the summon, and then the cutscene takes you to the next sequence.
Sure.
So it is. This is a story that you.
Well, at least. Yeah. So at least 50% of the things will be on the road map.
Yeah.
Right.
There will be enough to get you through the story thing, but you won't encounter them. And with Estelia again, you find them as part of the story. I think there are extras as well, but it literally goes, "Oh, you need to speak to this guy," and you just happen to find this thing.
But that's going to galvanise your experience right there, because it's going to be until I get here and until I achieve this,
I won't get there.
I'm nowhere.
Yeah, but with both these games, you can treat this summon, this thing, as essentially a weapon. It's just a fancy way of addressing a weapon.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Also,
because in Estelia, more so even than this. Well, actually, in this, not really the case, but it has its own AI as well.
Yeah,
which that's painful because every companion I've ever seen in any game, I want to punch in the face, because they are...
Well, in these ones, in Oninaki, the AI is just follow. With Estelia, they have just triggers on enemies. So you summon, the moment they trigger, say...
Sure,
attack an enemy.
The moment they don't trigger and they don't do what you want them to, you want to lose your mind because you can't control them.
Yeah. Well, it's a case of you turn them off and on again. Have you tried rebooting your summons? Zip.
It does happen on D3 with pet builds and other games with pet builds, right? You want them to attack someone and they're just doing whatever they damn please.
Did you ever play Daikatana?
No, I avoided that like the plague.
But you heard about the companions?
No. I know the game loosely.
But apparently they had a companion system, because companions, and apparently the AI for them is just the most appalling thing ever. I've never bothered investigating, but it's lived on through the mists of
Infamy.
time. Yeah, as AI companions, Daikatana is just the nadir of despair.
You say that in D2, your companion was solid, so you could not walk through them.
Oh my goodness! So if you went into a room,
and they blocked the doorway.
Could you summon and unsummon them?
Nope.
Oh my goodness!
You'd have to try and move them using the space available out of the gap that you needed to walk through.
This is why they need to invent jump, so you can jump over your companion. Solid. Why would they need solid companions?
Why indeed?
Wait, did D2 have multiplayer?
Yes.
Were the players solid to each other?
Well, yes.
Okay, so the trolling possibility. You just block people. You just stand in front of people so they can't get out.
It's just stupid.
There doesn't, because you aren't solid. Well, monster's solid to you as well. You can dodge through monsters, can't you?
No.
Well, they're solid.
Yeah.
Everything's solid. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, it makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't. Because the pathing of the AI was horrendous. So it would literally block you in a room. There was in Act 2, you had to go down into a burrow where it was just giant maggots, and they would regularly block you in the doorways, in the tunnels.
They should make that feature of like nightmare mode, where the companion's AI actively tries to get in your way.
He's like that stupid person in a horror movie, that seemingly wants to get killed and wants to get you killed too.
Bloody marvellous.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's Oninaki. Right, on to the next thing.
For some reason you wanted to cover this.
Yes. I want to bring it up briefly. It's not Super Mario. It's a Mario Kart Tour.
Super Mario Kart. Yeah.
It's no super about it. Coming to mobile, Android initially, iOS to follow. I believe it's coming in either September or October. Nintendo is gently loosening the grip on some of their properties in order to rake in the money, because
it's like releasing shares in order to get capital.
Yeah. This will help fund the proper Mario Kart, which is there's already a Mario Kart on Switch. So,
isn't that just a rehash of Mario Kart on the thingy?
The Switch one.
Yeah,
I think it obviously they have all the tribute courses to all the previous versions because
but isn't it just a port of the other from the previous console, the Wii?
I thought it was a new one, but I haven't really looked into that one. Anyway, this one, it's on mobile, so simplified controls. Your kart will auto accelerate. You don't need to worry about that. You swipe left and right to move, and
so all you people with Tinder apps have got an advantage.
Yeah, only with courses that have just all right-hand turns, and braking obviously. So the controls are thing, and then you got the weapons, which I'm not sure how they're dispatched, and that's it.
Probably just from flicking up.
Yeah, probably. It's
September 25th.
The big question is how badly is Nintendo going to monetize the hell out of this?
I expect loot boxes, skins.
No, they don't. Nintendo monetization, they sort of hide, like with Pokemon Masters, which is also just come out a few days ago. They give you the premium. The currency is the little gems. So there's two types of gems. There's normal gems and paid gems, and the normal gems they drip feed. You can use these to like get summons and to get like unlock like some kind of equipment or something. I don't know. So in order to get more characters, you need to get these, and they sort of drip feed them to you. So you'll get them. I've currently got. You need 3,000 to get a 10-pull summon, and I've got like 2,500. So I've got to put a bit more time to it. But a lot of that, like at least 50-60% of that was just them from the launch bonus. So I said, here's 1,000 gems for the launch. Here's 200 things because we've hit this milestone. So a ton of the gems I've got are from bonuses. But if it wasn't, I would have less than 1,000, and it would be ages before I'd be able to unlock any new characters unless I wanted to do summon one at a time. There's paid gems, and the paid gems, it's cheaper to do a 10-pull because you're paying for it, and also they got a guaranteed 5-star. If you do a 10-pull with paid gems, you get guaranteed 5-star. With the other one, it's between 3 and 5, and you're most likely to get mostly 3s or 4s.
Wow, man, this just sounds horrible.
But yeah,
like a cash cow.
This is how Nintendo does it. They drip feed you, and you get desperate.
How could they drip feed? How could they monetize Mario Kart? Courses.
You could lock away characters and stuff. You could say, okay, you get the initial 8, and then course. But it's like with the Mario Karts on the other platforms. Usually, you only get the 50cc karts, and for the 100cc and the 150, the more powerful vehicles, the courses and seasons and stuff, you have to unlock them through play. And we
that's fine, but that's not unlocking them through money.
No, what you do is you just say, to unlock the 100cc carts, you need to acquire 10,000 gems. And if every time you log in, here's 5 gems. Good luck. You'll get that in about 3 months, or if you throw a few dollars at it, you can get them now. That sort of thing. There are ways to monetize it, but the thing is, with Nintendo, they do it in such a way that it's like the progress is so slow. I mean, you can do it free to play, no problem, but it will take you a while. You just have to grind and grind, and that's the way they do it. Because Nintendo won't give it away for free. Well, they give it away for free, but they will make sure that they will get their money's worth out of it.
Yeah, it's duplicitous garbage.
But it was like with Mario. Was it Mario Run or whatever? Mario. What was the?
Yeah. I think it was called that.
They not only charged initially, it was like $5 or something initial cost, but they also had in-app transactions.
Really?
In-app purchases, yeah.
For what?
Stamina or something, or to unlock like additional. No, that's right. They eventually changed it so that it was like, if you play for free, you got like level 1 for free, and then everything else was paywall. So you could say, okay, this is something I like, and then you pay for it. And the numbers were just not thing, but it's because Nintendo they were pricing it like, instead of pricing it like 99 cents or something, something low, they were pricing it $5. They were pricing it at.
I'm assuming this game was a failure.
It for Nintendo, it did not make as much money as they were expecting.
No, really?
Yeah,
Nintendo was so deluded. Though.
It obviously made its cost back, but the fact is, they were expecting truckloads of money, and they didn't get that many trucks.
Deluded.
Yeah. So I'm playing Pokemon Masters at the moment. It's the combat.
We're getting a full review, are we?
I might as well throw it in because we need to fill the time for the episode, right? It's okay. Well,
not with shit.
Anyway, Pokemon Masters. You collect trainers and Pokemon from the game, the various game series. The combat is simplified. So
does that mean you've got Ash Ketchum in a ball?
Well, the character you start with starts with Pikachu. You can meet characters from, like, you meet Hal from Pokemon Sun Moon. You meet Cynthia from the I think Pokemon. This is the 4th gen or something. But you meet some famous characters and their primary Pokemon from various games, and that's the collection mechanic. And then you pick them on your team. You have teams of 3 people, each with their own individual Pokemon. But it's like, you're in the volcano area. All the trainers are going to be using fire Pokemon, so bring water and rock ones. That's the strategy. It literally tells you what to bring, and it's the combat's just
spoon-fed lameness.
Yeah, it's horribly unsatisfying. Anyway, and in this, summoning the characters, that's how they get you. They monetize it by saying you want the rare 5-star characters, you're gonna have to summon them, and summoning with the free currency is going to take you 1,000 years. But if you pay, you can summon a hell of a lot, and you're guaranteed the 5 stars, so you're more likely to get them.
This thing you mentioned about getting currency for picking up the game.
Yeah.
Right, that's what all the games do. They set these very low thresholds of rewards at the beginning.
Complete level 1, here's 10 gems. Complete level 2, here's 10 gems.
Right, but as soon as you have access to all of that, it has dried up. It's as arid as...
Yeah. But what obviously they'll do is they'll throw more characters. They've got like 60 characters in there, and they've got hundreds of characters across, 30, 40 plus games. So they can drip feed characters out every few months.
Yeah,
easily.
but I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about that there's going to be a point where people are just going to break and not play the game, or break and spend money.
That's it. That's how these...
Because Street Fighter 5 did that.
And did people break?
I don't know. I didn't. And Anthem did that, where they were throwing money at you at the beginning.
Yeah.
But later on,
it's absolutely.
But this is a common thing, and it's like, it seems fair at the off, but once you're in it, you realise how massively unfair it is.
This is the point with these things, is that it hooks you, and then it's the sunk cost fallacy. So I've invested X amount of resources, time, etc. I need to see this through to get my worth.
No.
But the problem is that the slope you're climbing becomes steeper and steeper, because as you progress, there are less levels to unlock. There is less free, currency thrown at you, and it becomes harder and harder. Yeah, absolutely. Different games handle it differently. Some of the ones I play, they just throw currency at you regardless, and if you're just patient, you'll get it. But others, like this, you can see them saying, well, once you've completed all the levels, then there's just like there's just like the multiplayer, end game, and that's where the currency dries up, and then they're going to throw new characters in, and you go, well, crap, I don't have enough, and I've already unlocked such and such. I'm going to catch them all, as the saying goes. That's how it is. I don't know that Mario Kart is going to be that insidious, but I suspect they can. They can paywall.
Judging by the last Mario game,
they all the stuff that you could unlock from the full release, you paywall it off, or you just bury it under large numbers of the currency that require just so much time and effort that people say it's easier to pay.
Maybe you have to invest money in the game before you start, and when you drive through one of those question mark blocks, it says, "Would you like to access this question mark blocks? Costs 99 cents."
It's like you click it, the game pauses, and it says "Swipe card now." It's like, or tap NFC against
your PayPal now, and then you go yes, and you get a banana skin, and you're like, God.
I can't remember. I was reading about a game. It might have been Mario Kart or something, and it mentioned that it was like. The way they worded it, it was like free to. It's like they're saying it was like free to play initially, but it was just like an insidious way. Like it was not going to be free if you wanted to carry on playing, but it was just like an odd way to phrase it, and I was like,
free to download, free to start, not free to play.
Yeah, it was just, but they didn't use the word. It was just the way it was just a really strange way of phrasing it. It implied that it was
going to be a period of time.
Yeah, it's like. Okay, you get essentially a demo, and if you want a thing, you're going to have to start forking out. But not like a one-off. It was like ongoing.
That's insidious. I don't want my games to be like that.
Well, you can see that it's becoming a greater and greater trend, isn't it?
It is, but not.
Not everyone. No, obviously not every company will go.
AAA titles still haven't employed that tactic.
No, of course they won't, because they need the upfront. Return, because there's no guarantee thing. But there will be a time where games already that one or another, but it will be.
This reminds me, actually, I did see a news, kind of a news story on Riot Games purchasing another studio in order to create a fighting game.
Yeah. I think we discussed that.
No.
Briefly. Didn't we? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't on show then. I think but that's right. Riot's need to diversify, except they've got their battle chess version now. So
yeah, that's really diversified there.
But the thing is, the fighting game
library is
going to be the lead characters.
No,
what different characters?
I don't think it's going to be lead characters. There was a stupid thing that it might be, but I don't think it is at all.
I'd assume
because the people behind the engine of the game
had characters already.
Well, no. They're not going to have a. I think they're going to have a sway in what happens
when you own a studio. They have no sway,
dude,
unless they leave.
They're the ones making the. Irrespective of what the skins are, it's going to be what it's going to be. The game, I can't remember the name of the studio they bought. It's like, right, but they already bought a game out in 2015, so they've had their day in the sun, and it was not as well received as it didn't become a commercial success, and the servers were shut down. Right, it was embraced by people of note apparently. And the mechanics were there because what they essentially wanted to do was create a game that was fun to play if you were a novice, and had the mechanics to excel at it if you were an expert.
Radiant Entertainment.
That's the one.
2016. Wow.
Yeah.
That's ancient technology. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. 2016, and Rising Thunder was the
Yes.
game that they...
I mean, it looked fugly to me, but the
Rising
mechanics were solid.
Mm.
Like, this was a game that flew under most people's radar. I mean, I remember it from the time, and it sort of reinvigorated the memory of it when I read this news story, looking into it.
Oh, no, right. Radiant has 2 titles, Rising Thunder and the town building simulator Stonehearth. Stonehearth will be completed under the banner of Riot Games.
Yeah, I've read that as well.
Yeah. This was 2016.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Fan-made League of Fights puts Riot's characters against each other in one matches. People want League characters fighting each other.
Yeah, but that's... Who gives a...
Yeah.
The League characters are style... They're like Street Fighter 2 characters. They're stylized, not actualized characters. There's no bullfighter that wears a mask and has a Freddy Krueger claw dancing around in a Spanish restaurant. There just isn't. They don't do that.
Because
there's no fighting
you're
style.
not going to the right restaurants.
There's no fighting style behind M. Bison. There's, they're caricatures. They're not... Virtua Fighter explored the actual fighting style of a discipline.
And look what happens for
right?
Fighter.
Well, you say that, but Tekken's still around, and they basically did the same thing.
Yeah.
But where Street Fighter was just caricatures, and that's exactly what the characters in League of Legends are. They're caricatures. There's no real fighting style there.
Obviously.
So it's just going to come off looking like every other game, stylized nonsense. Just throw a punch. Don't do a backflip to do a small kick like Chun-Li does. Just throw a punch, alright? Just give up.
People want League characters fighting each other.
Only morons who play League equals
Dude, you're
morons.
insulting like the majority of our audience. I assume we have an audience. And
yeah, we have an audience, and they probably don't play League if they're listening to us.
Well, the ones that do play League have probably left, and so that statement is 100% correct.
Anyway, my opinion of League is irrespective. I'm just saying, as a fighting game, you'd want to employ some tactic of an inspiration, right? So you say this guy is a monk. I don't even know what the League characters are. There's a guy who looks like a troll, right?
Yeah.
And he carries a club, as far as I'm aware.
They have yordles, which are like little...
Sure, right? What's his fighting style going to be based on? Punch, kick, death.
Well, it's like...
They're caricatures. That's all I was trying to say. I'm not directly insulting League.
I'm not arguing with it. They're not caricatures, but this... If they did a League game, people would buy it. A League fighting game.
But that's like doing a Mario run.
Rise of Machines.
It's like no one wants to see that.
A lot of people went into it
and left it.
Yeah,
I can imagine after their paywall came up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still out there actually.
It must be. They don't pull things like that.
I mean, it just...
Nintendo might, because they're crazy.
Yeah.
These are the people that have a console out there that has a resolution of the screen that's less than a mobile phone, a cheap mobile phone.
But because the higher the resolution, the greater the power draw. So
you can say this till you're blue in the face, dude, but still not as easy to program as iOS or Android. It still doesn't have the graphical fidelity of iOS or Android. It still doesn't have the portability of iOS or Android.
Of the NVIDIA Tegra XY. Did you? I read about.
I'm pretty sure there are phones that use that process
with the new versions of the Switch.
I'm not even talking about the Switch. I'm talking about the DS.
Oh, that's
garbage technology. The Switch is fine.
Oh, but the thing is, it's because it has to run off like tiny batteries.
No, it doesn't.
You have to try and get 5-hour life out of tiny batteries.
They're not tiny batteries. It's a lithium battery.
Yeah.
It's a rechargeable lithium battery. It'd probably power a wheelchair if you ask it to. I don't know what you're crying about.
The point is...
The point is...
I forgot what we were talking about. Wait, we're talking about the DS.
You were just going to check if Mario Run is still on the Play Store.
It is still on the Play Store.
How much... Does it still got a paywall? Is it still... You have to buy it?
This app... it looks to be free. It doesn't mention about in-app purchases.
Looking on the Play Store a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, in-app products, £9.99 per item. Pay to unlock.
Wow.
So, like I said, the thing is, they set a price.
£9.99.
Look, this is for an endless runner game. Endless runner. So you're running and jumping. There's very basic gameplay. It's not even like a Mario game where you can do Mario stuff. It's just an endless runner, but they're charging £10 to unlock the full game, and they wonder why it didn't meet expectations.
Wow!
Instead of saying like $2, just a reasonable price for the gameplay you're getting, it's like we want the money now.
Wow!
Yeah. I wasn't expecting a number that large.
Wow.
I don't remember it being that large, but that's what it says here.
£10.
£10 to unlock the game full.
Wow.
Because I do remember trying it, and I tried up to the first the free section, and I was like, this is boring. I wouldn't want to play it anyway. But I said I wouldn't want to pay for it. But yeah,
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You can buy AAA titles for £10.
Yeah,
they're just not. It's 6 months after they come out, you can buy them for £10.
You just wait. It will go down in price. You will get more enjoyment than an endless runner. I mean, that's just appalling. 100 million plus installs, but
100 million plus uninstalls.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Nintendo. When I say Nintendo like money,
wowza. Yeah, they all like money.
Yeah, but £10.
Nintendo are just behind the times somewhat.
Yeah, so with Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem game on mobile, they've perfected the sweet spot between in the gacha games. And,
so you say.
But it's successful. It rakes in a shit ton of money. So they're happy with how Fire Emblem's
I have to say the Switch Fire Emblem game looks
Three Houses.
Yeah, that looks very. What's the phrase? Engaging. And totally not for me on every level.
It's a dating simulator.
It looks like a grind and a half. It looks so overdone. I mean, I watched a lot of it, and somebody played through on, I think, the hardest difficulty, if there is. I'm sure he said it was. And there was a point where he was in a gigantic square that he had to scroll just to get to the other side of, and he had an F-ton of forces in it, like hero characters, fighting against the basic army of opposition.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, just to do this one event, took over an hour.
Wow.
And it's like, and obviously because it's turn-based, and you hit them, they hit you. So boring. So boring. So boring. I could not sit through that.
You're not the target. We are not the target audience.
It doesn't matter though. Like, is the target audience brain dead?
People love Fire Emblem, and they love it on Smash as well.
Like, I don't have a problem with that and XCOM and all those games like that. It's meant to be strategy based.
Yeah, but it sounds like simulating a war.
Yeah, like, be a little bit more snappy than this.
We need 3 times speed and auto. Just pick.
No
set
auto.
It to one side.
No auto. That's not playing a game. That's watching a game.
Would you rather watch it for an hour or let it sort itself out in like 10 minutes?
Neither. In that case, I did watch it for over an hour.
What would you like to do?
And I was bored stiff.
There's one thing you don't like.
I appreciate that the game's got mechanics. I just don't appreciate the fact that it takes so long to do so little.
Well, the thing is, I don't know how the gameplay is in the mobile version, but I assume it's very similar in style to the previous
I'm sure.
Fire Emblem games. So
I can move this amount of squares and I can attack this amount of squares.
well, it's working for someone because Nintendo are raking it in.
Yeah. I mean, if they make money on the games that I don't like and they produce the games that I do like, then great.
Everyone wins.
Well, I don't win yet because I don't have a Switch, but, you know.
Nintendo, send us some review switches.
Well, like a Switch that says review on it and you just flick it up and down.
No.
Do anything.
We review it and say, yep, that's a Switch, and then we have to send them back.
It powers up, it powers down, it can power a wheelchair.
It can play Switch games.
Yeah.
I give it 10 out of 10. Very Switch-like.
So, yes. So what we've learned this week is Nintendo are actually evil.
And there are a bunch of games that we're looking forward to.
There's a new genre called
Jack
Banjo Clank.
Jack Banjo Crank, where you run around a 3D landscape collecting shiny objects for story reasons.
Fighting identical, slightly colour palette changed enemies for 10 hours and jumping over gaps that the camera will kill you 7 times out of 10.
Well, they should give you an adjustable camera. Right. I think that will do it for today's episode. Thank you very much. This was the Digital Suffering Podcast, the podcast where we suffer so you don't have to. Good night. That was the Digital Suffering Podcast. If you'd like to suffer some more, you can find other episodes on Red Circle, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public, and SoundCloud. Please like and subscribe everywhere.